Hi, and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Eric, and this is.
Karen.
We're back with more Ryan's Hope this week, our third Ryan's Hope, I believe. Sure, it's taking time, but we do a lot. So, what are we going to do? We're covering episodes 18 to 21. Tommy will roll the credits, and we'll chat about it. All right, so episode 18. I kind of forgot where we were because we've watched for a while. So it took me a while. I couldn't remember names. I was like, who's
I
who? I just
had
remember Frank
I
and
had the
Pat.
same problem, right? Because like I could remember Nell's last name, but not her first name, and they didn't say it till like 2 or 3 episodes in, and I was like, yes. But it
Same
was
with same with
crazy.
Coleridge. I was like, Dr. Coleridge. I remembered called Dr. Coleridge, but I can't remember his name, and I don't even think I wrote his name. So that's what I'm calling him, Dr. Coleridge.
Well, his name
Is
is
it
Ed.
Mike?
No, it's Ed.
Ed. I'll never get it.
Yeah,
I'll
he'll
never
might
get it.
remember it.
Well, they always call doctor this and nurse that, so it's like hard to get their first names. Like Nurse Gonzalez, I forgot her name was what, Ramona?
Yep. Yeah, Ramona.
Okay, I did hear it later, but I just wrote Nurse Gonzalez.
You
So
know,
whatever.
I forgot her last name was Gonzalez, and I was like, I remember she's Ramona, and I like her.
You remember Ramona, and she said it one time when she introduced it to Bucky, but you don't remember Gonzalez, when they say every episode.
Well, Gonzalez is a normal name. You hear that a lot, right? Coleridge, which is funny because I just realized that they talk about Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner a lot in this TV show, and that's written by a poet named Coleridge. So it's crazy to me
Ah.
that like they do that, and I make the connection way too late. And I was an English major, so
Well, I mean, you kind of didn't. We're only in 21 episodes, so I mean, you kind of caught it early. I'm sure I didn't catch it because I don't know any of that stuff. So there you go.
yeah. Well,
there's stupid fans like me, and there's smart ones like you.
is that why I hate the Ryans so much?
I think it's because of the name. I think because it's called Ryan's Hope that you're like against the Ryans already, just because it's like it's not their hope, it's everybody else's.
I thought you were going to be like, because you went to Ryan for high school and you're carrying a grudge.
Oh well, I guess that could be too. All right, so we get into it. The X-rays are in. Well, I thought they were in for Frank, but they weren't. I don't
They did
know.
a
Maybe
second
some.
set.
Okay, they did a second set. I was
Mhm.
confused by that because I'm like, because they came in later on too, and I was
They
like, wait,
were
what?
really vague about what they saw on the x-rays, but I watch a lot of medical shows. So I was like, oh, they're cloudy or whatever. So they were kind of looking for pneumonia and they were afraid he had it. So
Right.
the first set of chest x-rays, they could see it, but I think they were thinking maybe it was something on the screen or some kind of problem. So they
They probably thought it was TV disease.
mm, it is it is something a lot of people get.
um, so we have Nell and Dr. Coleridge, Ed, um, ask her out for dinner after they like talk a little bit about like the X-rays and stuff. Um, Pat asks, I forgot Pat's name. I called him Jack. Totally forgot. I'm like, wait, oh yeah, that's Pat. Um, I guess Pat goes in and he like asks about Frank, or the X-rays for him or whatever.
Hmm.
But it then goes to the next scene. We have Faith and Bucky having dinner are they having dinner at the Ryan's pub?
I don't know.
I don't.
Probably.
Yeah, it's too early to like tell. We don't know sets yet. I think the pub, but there was like nobody there, so I'm like, I don't know where they were.
I don't
But
know.
they weren't in his boat.
They're literally at a table. You see the waiter for half a second. There's not really enough information to tell where they are.
I love the jukebox. I was like so old school. It's like classic jukebox right there.
I love the jukebox. Very happy
They
days.
kept that. Yeah. I wonder if it was from that. Well, no, it's New York. Whatever was filmed in New York. Um, he brings up all this stuff, like they're having a nice time, but then he's just kind of like annoying, like overbearing almost. He brings up, let's go sailing in my houseboat. She says maybe. Then he's like, well, my mom might come to town. I want you to meet her, my dad. I'm like, she's like, oh, listen, dude, hold up. I'm feeling a little closed in. He apologizes and he's like, all right, let's just go to the movie. But like, why is he coming on so strong like that? Like he
I feel like
knows.
he's super excited, and
Yeah.
anytime she shows a little bit of interest, he like pounces on it. And she's multiple times she's told him like, I don't want anything like that. Let's not move fast. Let's not move fast. And I think each time he gets a little positive reinforcement from her, like an idea that she might like him, because they were having a very nice conversation where he was oversharing about his entire family life. They were having a good time, and he thought, I don't want this good time to end. Now we can go on a boat. Now we can do this. Now we can push forward.
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
It's
I
too
guess.
much too soon, but I don't think he has bad intentions. I just think he's a dumbass about dating.
And Faith is a little complicated too. Like I get that she was like in the past, like she might have been hurt, but at the same time, um, she just doesn't. I don't know. She seems a little off to me.
Faith gives off asexual queen vibe. She does. She's just like,
Exactly, something like that. Yes.
I don't understand this guy's sexual intent towards me. I told him I am not ready for sexy times. And and she sees every push forward as threatening, because
Yeah.
it is threatening, because he's unintentionally pushing at her boundaries, because she set a boundary
Yeah.
and he just keeps walking over it.
Right. And I almost feel like he should just chill out, just eat dinner, get to know each other a little bit, go to the movie, and then just be like, okay, if you want to do this again, let me know. Like
Yeah,
that type of
that
thing.
was fun. We had a great time. I'll see you at work, and maybe next week we can add in
Right.
fun things she might want to do.
Right.
He's like, let's get married tomorrow. I love you.
So Pat's upset, like, there's nothing they can do for Frank, so he's getting like worried. He has this random flashback about Frank. When he was a cop, Frank comes by. Um, Pat's complaining about like his homework and stuff.
Mhm.
Frank gives him this necklace of St. Jude, kind of to help him give confidence. And he's like, "You'll be a doctor one day, whatever." And whatever. And then we see Pat like hang the necklace on the bed. I thought that was a sweet moment. I'm sure you hated it.
Yeah, I hated it. It's just, I'm really sick of this framing. I can't wait till Frank either wakes up or dies. Because like I need this framing of Frank as Jesus Christ to end. Like there's nothing Frank can do that's wrong. Meanwhile, he's cheating on his wife and he has a mysterious $6,500, and these delusional Ryans are just like, I don't
Well,
know,
it's family, and some people like when their families stand by them in times of need, and maybe that's all that he shows them. So like they don't know the dark side of him, but now they're starting to be like getting a little bit of it, and they'll find out more, I'm sure, soon.
Yep.
I don't know, Doctor. What's this one's name?
You
He
talking
was
about
in
Clem?
Blue. Yeah, is it Clem Muldry? I can't say his last name. Maudry.
I know. I don't think it's Maudry. It's like Moon something. His name is Clem. I know his first name is Clem.
Right, but he's Doctor. He's gonna go by Doctor whatever, so we got to get used to that. And I don't know how
I'll
to
get
say
it.
it. So
I don't think I wrote it down because I was having a hard time understanding, because my girl Nell was just yelling at everybody. Like she was not
yeah, I
being
know it.
cool, and I was having a hard time because I couldn't decide if she's racist or classist or both. Right?
I was gonna say, I'm like, you're going to defend Nell, and I'm gonna piss on her right now.
No, piss
Um,
on her. She was like rude to Ramona. She was rude to Clem, and she's talking about this third guy, Carlos, who she's basically treating like her servant off the floor. And I'm like,
right.
all of these people have like BIPOC like character vibes, and this woman comes in and she's just like, serve me. So I couldn't
Yeah,
decide if she was
and we didn't,
classist or not.
and we didn't see anybody like mistreating her like at this point. So I don't know if that's like behind the scenes or if she just feels like she has to be like this to like get shit done. I don't
I
know.
think she's freaking out. I think there's going to be more to this story of her wasting time. Like we're going to find out she has TV disease or something, because the way she wants her office set up now, she wants her work started now. She doesn't want to go to dinner with anyone new because she needs to do her work now. Seems a little bit more than just Seneca made me wait. It's reeks of desperation. Like I need to get this
Right.
done now or I'm not going to have time to do it. But it is coming off as either classist or racist in this episode.
Yeah.
I was upset. I was like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be my
Yeah.
favorite.
I like Nell, but I didn't like her after this episode. I mean, this episode. I mean, I'm
No,
still
I
gonna
didn't
like
like
all
her
these
in this
people, but
episode at all. I was furious with her.
Nell goes to Pat looking for Dr. Moldry Clem.
I'm gonna look it up.
um, he had stopped Carlo from like helping her unpack her stuff. She basically threatens him. She's like, "You'll regret it if like
Mhm.
you interfere with my stuff again." Like, Ed comes in. Ed doesn't do anything yet, right? He's kind of like on Nell's side a little bit because he doesn't exactly know the situation quite yet.
I think he was holding back until he got the information because he
Right,
did
because he takes
immediately
like
tell
he has a certain respect for her now, and he kind of likes her, so yeah. So he didn't fully get what was happening. Faith talks to her dad. I put her dad because I couldn't remember his name, Ed Coleridge,
them.
about Frank and Bucky. She thinks she's being superficial. She's like, I like Bucky, but I don't know, like I don't have feelings for him.
She also said
So she doesn't understand herself.
she has a hard time opening up and sharing parts of herself. She said that Bucky was telling her everything about him and that she wanted to share with him, but she felt like she was incapable. So I wonder if she's what this trauma is she had with her last relationship, or if this is
Right?
family trauma. Because when she was out with Bucky for dinner, he was saying about he didn't understand why she wasn't nice to Roger, and she's like, "You don't understand what Roger's really like." So like they're setting up for a lot of sneaky information on the
Yeah.
Coleridges. Also, you're right. His name is Moultrie.
Moultrie. Okay.
Moultrie. Moultrie.
Okay. I put
His
Moldry,
first
but
name is Hannibal.
it's not Clem. They just call him that for
No,
short.
no, he's Dr. Clem Moultrie, but he was played by
Uh,
Hannibal Penny, um,
uh,
Hannibal Penny Jr.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. So far, he doesn't rub me the wrong way yet. I
No,
hope he hangs
when
around. I
he
don't know
told
if he's
when
a
he
day
told
player or what.
Nell to stay in her lane, I was like, yes,
Yeah.
because she should. That was rude.
Um, Bucky and Pat talk about his date, and he thinks that Faith doesn't like him, which she doesn't. I mean, she does and she
She
doesn't.
doesn't love him. She just is trying to learn how to enjoy another human being's company at the moment.
Yeah. And Pat says that he will give his best efforts to help him. And that's all in that episode.
Well, here's what you were talking about. You're like, why does Bucky keep pushing forward? Well, every time he talks to his friend Pat is like, let me teach you how to get her into bed, instead of being like, wow, she never shows any interest in anyone. Keep doing what you're doing, but maybe tone it down a little bit. Like, I know Pat's trying to help, but Pat's methods are not going to
Yeah.
work on Faith.
Well, Bucky shouldn't listen to him. That's on him.
It is
Pat
on
can tell
him.
you all he wants.
It is on him.
So,
And like, I just feel like it's ridiculous to like, I don't know, because like Pat's advice works a little bit because he did get him the date, but then it's like
right.
if he takes Pat's information like all the way to the end, Faith's never going to speak to him again.
Right, right. Mary is at Frank's headquarters. Jack Finelli comes in with snacks and coffee. They're happy to be back together. They're just like, oh, still getting to know each other, being all cutesy. He brings up the $6,500. They both agree that Frank was pushed.
Yes.
And she's basically like, I just want to be able to trust you. Can I trust you? Type situation, because she's still getting to know him.
You know what he said about that? He said, you can trust me to get to the truth and to tell the truth. So he's not saying he'll keep her secrets. He's saying he's trustworthy for the truth, which means if he finds out that her brother is an awful person, he's publishing that.
Right.
I mean,
but I'm sure he'd run it by her.
She can take it any way she wants to take it. But what he said was, I have integrity. That's what he told her. So it's up to her whether or not she trusts him with this information or not.
Nell comes in as Nurse Gonzalez. Ramona is giving a shot to a patient, like setting, and Nell acts out right in front of this patient, which is the worst thing you could do, and you could be fired immediately nowadays for that.
Right.
Um, she's like,
Hilariously, I know enough Spanish to know what that woman was saying, and it is a very funny exchange.
"Oh, go ahead,
So she
by
just
all means."
keeps saying things like, "What's wrong with her? Why is she talking to you like that?" Oh, like every time she says something nasty, she's like, "Oh, she must be having a problem today." Like, is she really? And she says at one point, she's like, "What?" She has big feelings or something like that. So like each time, like this little lady in the chair is just defending Ramona, and Ramona is going, "Yeah, she's just like that. Don't worry about it." Like they're talking, and then Nell is like, I understand Spanish.
And Nurse Gonzalez is like, "Well, I was saying the truth, so
Yeah.
whatever."
She doesn't have a right to do that. Like they were just talking conversationally about how this woman was being horrible. And
No, and she's trying to make Nurse Gonzalez her secretary. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that, girlfriend.
yeah, she's like, "Oh, could you have my mail not put where everyone else's mail is put, but brought directly to me?" And she's like, "I'm not the mail clerk."
Yeah,
And she's like, "Yeah, but you see it first, so you could do that." And she's like, "No." And literally, the old lady is like, "What is this woman's problem?"
yeah. I was wondering that myself. Um, Mary tells Jack that Frank said pushed. Now she tells everybody. She's supposed to keep quiet about this, but she tells everybody who will
Mary
listen.
Ryan is stupid. She is stupid. She's a stupid character. I love
I like
Kate
Mary.
LaRue. I think she's a moron. Everything she does is dumb. Like I just oh I hate
I
her.
like Mary. I get what you're saying, but I like her. Um,
I like Captain Janeway.
so she says she wants Jack to keep quiet. He wants her to keep an open mind about Frank
Hmm.
and Nick being possibly involved. She says they don't need any money. He would never do that. He would die before he gets any help like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, he asks her to a baseball game. She's all excited at first, but then she's like, not right now because, like, it's a stressful time. She probably should have, though, to loosen up a little bit. Like, never. Somebody will call you. Well, I guess they can't call back then, but they probably could have got through the stadiums. JR could on Dallas. So, and Bob comes in.
Yep.
Nell and Dr. Coleridge chat. He says Nurse Gonzalez is like the best. She feels she has no support. She demands stuff. He says, "Don't do that. X-rays are ready for Frank." Basically.
He says to her, he's literally like, "You're not going to get anything you want to get by talking to these people like that. These are good people.
Yeah.
They work really hard, and there's no reason to talk to them like that." And she's like, "Well, I demand," and he goes, "That's your problem. Stop demanding."
I feel like she's just trying. I don't know.
I think she's panicked. I think she is freaking out because things are not moving as fast as she wants, and she's taking it out
Yeah.
on everyone around her. And it sucks because she has these nice moments with Ed where it seems like they're flirty and they're connecting, and
Right.
then she does this crazy nonsense because you can see she's sweet when she's with Bucky. So like
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense
She's
unless
literally been there like a day.
yeah, she's been a day. She doesn't know anyone. She has zero relationships with anyone, and she's already aggravated like 3 or 4 members of the staff.
Right.
Like this is
And like
not how
you're
you get things done.
and she wants someone to like help unpack her stuff and put like, dude, do it on your off time. It's your new office. Like, freaking stay there and do it. Do it
Yeah,
yourself.
come in an hour early and unpack your stuff. Like
Yeah,
nobody
or stay
should be
late.
moving you in, or stay an hour, or ask Bucky, who's your nephew, like to help you.
Right?
You don't ask Carlos, who's probably on the ward doing his job,
Yeah.
to stop treating
Bring in
patients.
patients. Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't
That's what she's
understand that.
asking. She's asking people to stop treating their patients, which makes no sense.
I
Yeah.
feel like that would be the equivalent of today of asking a registered nurse to come unpack your stuff. Because
Right.
like Carlos is working in the neurology ward. So he's not like some lower guy. He's in neurology. So like
Right.
even if he's just an orderly, he's probably well educated and has worked there for years to get where he
Yeah,
is.
he is an orderly.
And then they're like, "Get to work." Unpack my books, Carlos. Like
Bob tells Mary he doesn't trust Jack. Bob is not happy that she told Jack
I
what
wouldn't be
Frank had
either.
said.
That was stupid.
I put X-ray time, and Dr. Coleridge is like, I was afraid of this. and then that's the end of that episode.
Yeah, it was so vague book status, like the way they did it. And now I assume they were looking for pneumonia because a lot of times when
Right,
the
they
patient,
usually do.
well, when a
Yeah,
patient's
they rule
injured
out
like
pneumonia.
that and they're laying down for a long time, usually they develop pneumonia or some kind of secondary infection. So this is normal.
Yeah. Episode 20 starts
Dee
with
is back.
Delia staring at Frank's door.
Being weird. Very weird.
Being weird. Mary comes by. She says Mary and Frank are basically the same person. She wants to know if Frank said anything. She keeps pushing it. Like, I don't know. I guess Delia doesn't like think yet. I don't know what her plan is. I think she's just distracted or something. I don't know. Worried. She's got stuff going on. And she wants to know like if Frank said anything, and she does not tell her that he said pushed.
No.
And then Delia just rolls out. Mary is confused by Delia. So am I. Pat defends Delia.
Pat tried to stop her to try and find out what was going on, and she was just kind of overwhelmed by how Mary Ryan was behaving, even though they were both behaving like crazy people.
Right.
Because
they're like opposite crazy.
Well, Mary Ryan is, and Delia calls her on it, absolutely 100% delusional about Frank's condition. And anytime, and you'll see it later on, anytime Delia wants real information on how Frank's doing, Mary Ryan's like, he'll be fine. So
I'm Team Mary in this. I'm the same way. Mary tells Pat he said push. She's telling everybody. Bob said tell no one. And I put Mary can't keep a secret.
So dumb. She is so stupid.
Pneumonia is in both lungs that we find out. Dr. Coleridge tells that to Faith. We get to see Johnny and Maeve at the pub. She just had gone shopping. I saw that she unpacked Quaker Oats.
Did you notice that when the dad, what's the father's name? Is his name
Johnny.
Jack as well? Johnny. So
Johnny,
when Johnny opened the refrigerator to get the ingredients out to make coleslaw, something fell out of the fridge and landed on the floor. No one noticed. They did pick it up and it sat there for the entire scene.
Really?
It was so funny.
Oh, I didn't notice it.
It was so funny.
I tried to look
up.
I'm too busy looking for things in the scene like from the 70s that are today. I'm like, is there Tide? Is there this?
When he opened it, it kind of like softly fell out and plopped on the ground. And I'm like, what is that? I think it was a head of lettuce. I'm not sure because I couldn't really see it. But
it's funny that they actually had that in the fridge. So I guess.
Well, because then he was chopping to make this coleslaw, and everyone keeps making jokes about how much mustard he puts in everything.
Yeah, that was funny. He loves mustard. Like, I love ketchup.
They're like, oh, you'd put mustard on everything. Ha 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 ha.
And she gets some kind of plant. What is the plant? I figured you would know.
I don't remember. I think it might have been a post.
Shocked. You're always good with plants.
Oh, but Maeve was on, and I hate Ryan's. Oh, and she was telling this god awful story about how she went from the store to the preachers, and then they had a laugh, and they were drinking about Frank, the Jesus Christ of this show. And I was this close to fast forwarding the scene because if I have to listen to another pretentious story about Frank, I'm going to throw up.
Delia comes in. She seems kind of normal today. Or in this scene.
Sure.
She mentions that Mary was helpful. She thinks everything will work out. Totally opposite of how she was at the hospital.
Sure.
Bucky and Pat talk. Pat told Bucky all his girl tricks. Wants Faith to like him. Pat says he never had a close moment with Faith growing up. They grew up together. He never felt like a connection. I guess because she's always been weird. That's what I'm saying. Like you said, asexual.
Well, one of the funny things is like Bucky goes, well, I can't do everything you told me to do because I'll have to tell her that my favorite poet is Edgar Allan Poe, which is not romantic. So he's like, no, I can't do that. But yeah, she does come off as different.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like her.
Bucky asks Faith to dinner again. He basically begs her, and she says yes, reluctantly. I put Johnny loves mustard and Mary comes in.
Well, let me tell you, when he decided on his date plan where they were going to go to the boat, go swimming, and then they were going to go on the boat and have dinner, and he was going to do a Norwegian themed smorgasbord with aquavite. And right away, Pat goes, "Can you do that a second time? Because I'd like to go to that." And I was like, "Me too, Pat. That sounds like a party."
Sounds like a fun time.
I liked that. I thought that was funny because Pat was like, "Well, you can do that a second time for me." It was funny.
I put Maeve sings an Irish tune. Mary does this
Oh.
Irish dance. Pat comes in with the pneumonia news. The end.
I was going crazy. I was like, if I were watching this just for me, I would fast forward them. Like every time I would fast forward them. When she started singing, I wanted to die. And then Mary Ryan starts doing some crazy river dance stuff. And I'm like, what am I watching? These stupid delusional Ryans? I hate them.
Episode 21 starts with Pat, Mary, and Delia are all with Frank. They're trying to break his fever since he does have pneumonia and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Delia says she has bad thoughts about Frank. Mary smacks her and tells her to stop it.
She had no right to hit her.
I'm totally Team Mary. I would have slapped that bitch.
That is so violent and wrong. And this is the second time now she slapped Delia. She's abusive towards her. I hate Mary Ryan.
Delia deserved it.
No one deserves to be
hit. She did. Nell and Bucky talk about their problems.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they just get together and do that. They talk about his mom coming to town. I guess she's coming because he talked about it with Faith too. So I guess we're going to meet his mom.
There's also the suggestion again that Bucky needs to tell people what family he's from, because apparently
I guess
they are wealthy,
from a rich family.
And he just keeps saying, "I don't want to be a nepo baby. Leave me alone."
Yeah. I'm curious about this, so I'm excited to see who this mother is.
Very excited about their storylines, yes.
Nell says that she has a headache and he leaves. Mary tells Delia
she has a
headache. She is very negative.
She has a headache.
She is very negative.
TV disease.
She says he will get well. Delia says she is not being realistic. She is being realistic.
She is not being realistic, and Delia is being a realist in this scenario. And Mary Ryan.
Well, Delia's crazy. Delia's acting like a lunatic.
Mary Ryan sucks.
Get over it.
You get over it.
Pat tries to calm them down. Delia apologizes, forgives Mary, even though Mary didn't ask for forgiveness.
Mary doesn't deserve forgiveness.
And Delia didn't really mean it. You can tell. Roger and Dr. Clem. I put Malcolm this time. Moultrie.
Yeah, Moultrie.
They talk. Bucky comes, talks about Nell. He says she can take care of herself. Changed his schedule. He has to work tonight now, so now he can't go on his date with Faith.
Right.
Which wasn't cool. I don't think that happens. Well, especially now. It could have happened then, but
I'm sure it happened all the time then. They used to do that all the time, even with my retail schedule. But like, one of the things is like Bucky is always put in this position of defending Nell because I think he knows she's his aunt and he knows her pretty well. And Clem basically tells him to stay in his lane. He's like, maybe she's a strong lady and she can take care of herself. And she gets into and out of situations all by herself, so you don't need to do that. And Clem just basically says, my relationship with her is not my relationship with you. And I really admired him for that because that's like, it can color your relationships if somebody's related to somebody you don't like. And Clem is like, my problems with her problems with me, stay out of it. And Bucky goes, you got it. He's just like, that's fine. I need to work here. He's more concerned about missing his date with Faith. And that was a bummer to find out that you're not off when you thought you were off. That sucks.
Well, I feel like, I guess Faith has to work too, I think. I think that's what.
Well, they're all interns. Like intern doctors like that, they get the low end of everything. So
they get screwed.
That's part of it.
So we have a flashback. Mary has a flashback. Mary and Frank talk about his feelings for Delia. Mm-hmm. Mary seems upset that they're going to marry. And she apologizes to Delia after her memory. That's all I
So the problem with this memory, right, is it shows that Mary Ryan has an unhealthy relationship with her brother. She is too concerned with who he's dating, what he's doing. She acts like a jealous girlfriend more than
She
she does
does.
a sister. So like we're starting to get into like where with Pat, when we saw the flashback of him studying for college, what we saw is Frank in the position of the good older brother.
Right.
In the Mary Ryan flashback, we saw him trying to be in the position of good older brother, telling his sister about the girl he's in love with, and Mary Ryan reacting like a jealous girlfriend who's been spurned. It was
Right.
bizarre. I was
It
like,
was bizarre.
I did not like that. It was uncomfortable to watch because I have brothers and ew. So, but yeah, I don't know. It was uncomfortable for me.
I was not uncomfortable, but I get it.
I don't like
But
the
I'm
relationship
curious.
with Frank.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it's going to go, all of this stuff. And I feel like it's going to take a long time because it's a long soap. So,
I also think that that her getting tired and having a headache is more evidence that Nell has something wrong with her, and that's why
yeah, that makes sense.
I also think it makes sense in the way Bucky talks about her versus how other people talk about her. A personality change can happen when you're desperate and upset, or when you're sick.
Right.
And
Or a
he's like,
brain tumor.
right. And he's like, she's the nicest lady ever. And everyone's like, no, she's not. She's horrible. And like, you can boil that down to classism if you want and be like, oh, it's because he's also rich and she only respects rich, like Dr. Coleridge. But it doesn't seem right, like, because it just, she seems like two different people sometimes in scenes. And like,
Yeah.
she is flirty with Ed. Like some scenes, it looks like they're getting flirty, and then he says something or she says something, and then they're back to bickering with each other. Because she did
Yeah.
compliment him on how he ran his hospital, and not 2 scenes later was telling Bucky how horrible he ran his hospital. So which is like, is she putting on a facade for Ed? Then why would she flirt with him?
Right.
It's confusing to me.
It is. Yeah, it's some fun stuff though. I'm curious to know what happens with Bucky and Faith. When the hell if
I feel
Frank's
like
gonna wake Frank's gotta wake up at this point. They ain't gonna kill him off after all this.
I don't care. I don't care about Frank. I like, it's just they've made him too, like, they built him up to be too big for me to like him at this point. Unless he's a
That's why I'm excited for him
monster.
to wake
Like
up.
if he's an absolute total maniac
He
and
could
he has
be, we don't know.
fooled everyone and he's like got bodies in the basement, maybe I'll turn around on Frank. But if he's like this self-righteous good person that Mary Ryan has deluded herself into thinking he is, that would suck. I think the only thing that would be interesting is like the relationship between Mary Ryan and Finelli, like getting really tight and then finding out Frank's the serial killer, and then he
I,
has to break that to her.
I think that's where they're heading, it seems
Yeah,
like to me.
I hope so. I hope so.
I think they're gonna head to that. But I don't know because like I guess he could stay in a coma for a while. I wonder if he does because how weird of a job would that have been? Like we're hiring you for a job and you're going to be in a coma for the first year.
That's so long. I hope that isn't what's happening because we did get really excited when he did say push.
Yeah,
And
we're like, oh, good, he's up.
I don't know. It really does get to the point where I think if Delia didn't push him, she knows who did. Right?
Yeah,
Because
she's acting super suspicious,
and
and she's
also,
really the only one that is.
yeah, but Delia's normal behavior is sus because of her just being kind of a wild card. Like
And
she never wants to
I
see him.
don't, I don't think it would have been Nick either because he's the one that would either gave him the money or wanted his money. So why would he do it?
It wouldn't be Nick anyway. It would be Nick, one of Nick's people, because Nick isn't the type that would do anything on his own. But I feel like
Right.
it's still going to involve Roger in some way because we're starting to get these little pieces of information that Roger's not a good brother, and he's a degenerate gambler, but he seems to be a brilliant surgeon. And for whatever reason, he's sucking up to Nell. But also, did you notice that he wants to be like the head doctor? He said that to Clem, that there was like a in the running for head doctor.
Is it going to be one of those?
I don't know.
I just had Doctor Chief of Staff,
I don't think he
or
wants chief of staff. I think he wants a position that's just under that, because his father's not retiring or anything, and he's chief of staff. But I don't know. It was confusing the way he said it. He was just like, "Well, I'm in the running for it," and Clem implied that the reason he was sucking up to Nell was that he was trying to put himself in a better position to get there. So like
yeah.
Roger is scheming, but I don't know. Roger's not on enough for me to know anything about him yet.
Yeah, I know, and I'm more curious about him too. So hopefully, I'm sure we'll get like a week of him at
I'd
some
like to
point.
see Carlos too after he's been talked about for 2 episodes. Where is he hired? Is he hired? Who plays
Carlos, where are you?
Yeah. Is he like a
He's
real
just the guy they
person?
talk about.
I know, because like for years on General Hospital, they had a cook that you never saw because they never cast a cook. They would just be like,
Right.
not allowed in the kitchen, cook's kitchen. And I'm like, is this one of those characters where it's like, yeah, well, you know, man, I worked with Carlos last night. No, I never see Carlos. Never. He's in that. Never cast. Never hired him.
Right, well, we'll wrap this episode up of Ryan's Hope. We'll bring you some more. Maybe Karen will like Siobhan or the other Ryan that are off camera. She likes them right now because they're not there.
I do.
I love them. Oh, and we didn't get any Jill this week either. And I really like that actress. So I hope she comes around.
I
We
was
didn't get any
surprised we
Jill.
didn't get Jill when they were in the hospital room, because it seems like, or when they were at the campaign headquarters, I thought maybe Jill, when Finelli showed up,
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be Jill because Jill is on the campaign. So it was
it's
weird for
it's
her to
hard.
be there.
It's hard to write us a half hour soap, I guess. Like it's hard to fit everybody in. There's too many people.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, we'll wrap up this week and we'll bring you some more Ryan's Hope in the future. And subscribe, like, and comment. Queers and Soaps. Follow us on all the socials, and we'll see you soon.